Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to our fiqh of salah. We've talked previously about the definition of the salah, and we also mentioned about the two main things that allowed in Islam, at least to delay salah, which is forgetfulness and sleeping. Although a Muslim is not supposed to do these things intentionally, but if it happens, he or she could be pardoned because of that. But as soon as he wakes up and as soon as he or she remembers or recalls that he or she hasn't performed salah, straight away and immediately go and perform salah. We talk about other things. Today we'll be talking about the prerequisite for the validity of salah, or we call shurutu salah, the conditions necessary for salah. There are so many conditions. There are some things which are not included in the essence of salah, but they are also necessary for the validity of the salah. Yeah. If one of these things is missed, then salah will not be valid. These things are called prerequisite of salah, yeah, or they're called conditions of the salah. Okay, so although they are not included among the essence of the salah, meaning the essence of the salah, what do you mean by essence of the salah? I mean the structure and the anatomy of salah itself, meaning we're not talking about ruku' here, we're not talking about sujood, we're not talking about takbiratul ihram, we're not talking about suratul fatiha. This is like the essence of the salah. Okay, guys, this is the essence of salah. I mean the anatomy, the structure of the salah itself. But these things, if we don't, if they're not obtained, okay, if we don't make sure that, for instance, the first condition is purity. If somebody recites Surah Al-Fatiha perfectly right, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, all the makharij, all the ahkam, everything. But man, if the body is not pure, if the place of worship is not pure, yeah, maybe the clothes is not, that he or she is wearing is not pure, that is going to be, the salah will be invalid. So we are talking about the prerequisites. These are the things that must be obtained or fulfilled before the engagement of salah, or engaging into salah, or approaching the salah. Okay, so we call them conditions for the validity of salah, inshallah. So the first is what? Purity, tahara. And the purity, as we said, it has, three. The fiqh of tahara that we talked about is all applicable here. Okay, so here he's saying, now, salah will not be valid without purity. The scope of purity includes many things, yeah? Many things. It includes a lot of things, including purity of body from dijur filth. Dijur means he's talking about the major filth, yeah? Major filth means if the body, there's a major filth, you remember? Najas al-mughalada and najas al-mukhaffafa. We talked about the major impurity and the minor impurity. So first, the body, yeah? Body, purity of the body from major filth. You could write that, or major impurity. Write these terminologies that you are familiar with, rather than writing the terminologies that you are not familiar with. Yeah, right. Purity of the body from the major impurity or major filth. Yeah, the body of the salah performer, or somebody who performs salah, should be pure from the both major and minor filth. So major and minor, use this terminology here. Instead of de jure and de facto, these are kind of words that we don't mainly use. So I'm going to write down here. So major, I'm going to write here major and minor impurities. So when I talk this way, I think everybody understands now. Do you guys understand each other when I say major and minor? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this sounds much more familiar to you than the de facto and de jure kind of field. So the body should be free, or should be pure from the major, meaning somebody's in a sort of state of janaba. Yeah. And we explained in the ghusl, you remember, we've talked about ghusl means ritual bathing. We've explained that. And that's obtained if a person, if the, semen, if it's, coming out of him or her, or someone is in her, menstrual period or circle, for our sisters, all these kind of things, we say someone has to be in in form of purity, means you have to go and get the ghusl, the ritual bathing. If it's a blood or there is just, anything to do with that, this is major. Minor means what? Minor is if there's any minor, like, there's urine, there's, I don't know, blood, there is vomit, there's anything. So any of this kind of filth or considered najasa or impurity, if they happen in the body, so the body has to be clean. This is a prerequisite. This is a condition. Yeah. Even if somebody while standing and then he or she feels, oh, I think there's a tiny urine that's come out of me now, or like a tiny, I need to go and check. If you have to go and check, you have to go and check. Yeah. If you have to go and check, you please go back and check. Yeah. If you find out that you're clean, no problem. Yeah. So we have to ensure that that's a condition. We can't pray without it. So this is the one. So purity, and then the purity of the body from the minor. So the first one was like the minor, and this is the major. This is the minor. The body of the salah performer should be free from the minor filth or impurity in an excusable quantity. Okay. Purity of garment. See, this is the thing. So the first one is purity of the body. Yeah, purity of the body from major and or minor impurities or filth. Second one will be purity of the garment. The garment, yeah, purity of your clothes or clothing that you're wearing. If it's a jeans, if it's a, I don't know, kameez, or I don't know, a jilbab, or whatever it is, has to be pure. So the garments are on the salah performers. The garments of the salah performer's body should be free of major filth in an inexcusable quantity. Okay. And the purity of place. Basically, we're talking about 3 types of purities. That's what I say. Purity of the body from major of minor, purity of the place from the major of minor, and purity of garment. Just write it this way. Don't confuse these terminologies. Sometimes they confuse people. So write the word purity and take it 3 points. Garment, body, and place. Finish. And all these 3, like purity of place as well. The place where the person is performing salah should be pure from de facto filth, meaning, the major or the minor. Well, here it's going to be the minor, because they can be major in a place. The major one, we're talking about, the ones, the type of impurity which are happening within an individual body, within my body and your body, because Allah created us that way. Yeah, it is natural to have this kind of processes as human beings. So when they happen, they don't happen to a place. No, they happen to our bodies, and it's part of our nature. Basically, it's part of our nature. Okay, so don't complicate it, guys. Please put it in simple English that you will understand. The bottom line is you need to understand the concept, and you need to be able to pass it and share it to another person. If it's your community or your friends or your brothers and sisters at home or your family. Yeah, don't write terminologies that are going to be, oh, I don't understand this. What is de facto? What is de jure? Okay, don't write these words. Just write the simple words that you understand. Now here, there's another point. It's the purity of a place requires that the places where salah's performance feet, sorry, hands, knees, and forehead will be falling on the ground at the time of prostration should be pure as well. It's a purity of places everywhere. Yeah, it's everywhere. But when we say everywhere, we don't mean like, if you're praying outside, for instance, we are much more like, we are concerned about the place where you are going to perform salah, as in you're going to put your hands and your forehead, and you're going to do prostration. We are not saying the whole ground should be clean. No, that's not really how it's supposed to be, right? It is that particular place that you want to perform your prayer. You're not going to, if you're occupying the whole place, maybe you're doing like Eid prayer or Jummah prayer with a big gathering. Of course, if you're doing Jama'ah, that means the whole place should be clean. I hope that one is clear. So that's just one point. Before salah, one condition is purity, at-tahara. Tahara of 3, we say taharatul badani, purity of the body, taharatul jismi, sorry, jismi wal badani, taharatul al-thiyab, the garment, or taharatul makan, which is the place. Now, number 2, it says one of the conditions, now we're talking about the conditions of the salah, guys, very, very important. Covering the organs to be hidden. or is known as sitrul awra. Sitru al-awra, covering the organs to be hidden. Salah will not be valid if he or she doesn't, hide the organs to be hidden when he or she is capable of doing it. Okay, it is necessary that the organs to be hidden should remain hidden from the start of the salah till the end. Why are we talking about this? Sometimes somebody could start salah, while standing, especially boys. Like they have their t-shirts or their jeans, because I know I've never seen any lady like reading or performing salah with shorts or anything like that. Because for us men, we are allowed to cover from the belly button up to the knees. Yeah. So what happens? Some people, they wear like t-shirt, but these t-shirts, when they stand, it looks like it covered this area. But when they go for ruku or when they go for sujood, what happens? Iwan, what's happened?
The aura becomes exposed.
Yes, the t-shirt like keeps on, coming up, and the aura or the hidden area becomes exposed. But this doesn't happen to women. It's mainly happening to men. So we have to take extra care as men. Yeah, as boys, you have to take extra care, because the t-shirts we are wearing, they're quite short, or maybe the trousers. So what happens? The trouser either falls down or the t-shirt goes up, and then that one is getting exposed. So that's not allowed. So you have to make sure. And if you're like, I've never seen a lady doing that with a t-shirt, we know that we have to get, a full covering kind of jilbab, or a garment that's going to cover your whole body. So this is very important. Covering the organs to be hidden. While you're writing, try to understand. You don't have to write everything. Just write the points, which are very important. You can't write everything, He says if a quarter or more of an organ to be hidden is uncovered, before starting the salah will not be valid. Now here we got to be very careful, guys. Sometimes you see like the knees are exposed, especially for the boys. All this, the waist is being exposed. So now we're going to say, my friend, you've tried to pray, but this is not acceptable. You have to go and do it properly. Also, here it says limits of organs to be covered for men, from the navel to the end of the knees, from the end of the knees. So we know where the belly button, the navel to the knees. Knees are organs to be hidden, unlike the navel, which is not an organ to be hidden. Now, from the navel here, so anywhere from here up to the knees. So the knees have to be covered as well. Limits of the organs to be covered for a woman: entire body excluding the face, palms, and feet. And limits of organ to be covered. Now here there is a concept of a free woman and a slave woman. I'm going to explain what do we mean by free woman and a slave woman, because some people might take it out of context. Oh, do we have slaves in Islam? No, we have to explain. So the limits of organs to be covered for a free woman: entire body excluding the face, palms, and feet. And limits of organs to be covered for a slave woman: from a navel to the end of the knees, in addition to her abdomen and back. So basically, what's a free woman and a slave woman is, back in the days, remember, that's what Islam legislated everything. Like we said, in the Asrul Jahili, the pre-Islamic era, you remember, there are a lot of people who are owned by other people. So there were a lot of people, especially women, who are owned by men, who are owned by fellow women. So what are their rules? Because they are not considered to be like a complete humans, basically. They were not considered that way. But Islam came to legislate that. Islam made easy for them. For them, they don't have to cover everything. Because remember, these slave girls or women, they were actually owned. They were hired for work purposes. So they don't even have like permanent shelters or like permanent decent life like a free woman would be. A free woman would be having like maybe a house, with a husband, or like a room if you're staying with the family. But the girls, the slave girls, the so-called slave girls, they were like treated like, like you have a warehouse and then you just have staffs. You just, push everyone in there. So that's how they were. They were mistreated basically. But Islam came and said, no, as long as these ones, they are under your protection. First, it was highly encouraged for people to free the so-called slaves. And one of them was Sayyidina Abu Bakr. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, he used to be known as Al-Atiq. Al-Atiq means someone who used to pay, money from his own pocket to free slaves. Whenever he finds, oh, there is a slave, there's somebody who is owned by somebody, say, how much do you want? No, I want 2,000 dinar, which is a lot of money, or 1,000 dinar, or 10,000. Okay, he goes and free that woman or a man. That's how he used to be. Yeah. So some of these people, they own this slave. Also, no, there are conditions. You can't mistreat these girls. You can't mistreat even these men who are owned by you. Okay, you are highly recommended to free them. Yeah, but because Islam came while these people had these things, you have to understand, when the Prophet ﷺ was preaching Islam, teaching people the civilization of Islam, these people were drinking. You understand? Some of these people, now we call them the Sahaba because they saw the Prophet ﷺ. They were actually, before khamr or alcohol was made haram, people used to drink at night. I hope you know these things. Yeah. So from the beginning of the salah, al-fajr, they can't do that. Zuhur, at night, they used to drink because it wasn't made prohibited back then. Yeah. And the first ayah, they came to prohibit these things very slowly. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la taqrabu as-salata wa antum sukara. Oh, who believe, don't approach salah while you are drunk. Because the Arabs were, it was an intoxicant society. We call it intoxicant society. Society was full of what? Alcohol, a lot of haram things. Even these people who came to Islam, they were still doing some of the things that they used to do in the Jahiliyyah, in the time of ignorance. Okay, that's why when Islam came, it didn't prohibit everything at once. No this, no. Gradually, because it's very difficult, gradually. So at night, they used to drink, they used to own slaves, some of them, but they were told, if you own them, you have to treat them with this and this and this. Now, later on, Allah says, إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرُ وَالْأَنصَابُ وَالْأَزْلَامُ رِجْسٌ مِّنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Now, from now on, alcoholism, gambling, worshipping, trees, doing this and that, all these things are called rijsun. These are filth. You have to abandon them completely. You understand? No slavery at all. Now, there is no Muslim, there's no one who can say, oh, this is my slave. No slavery system. The slavery system has been abolished in Islam completely. Khamr, alcoholism, has been abolished completely. Riba, interest, usury, has been abolished completely. Mistreating women, children, bearing, infant children, has been abolished completely. You understand? But we are not saying that these things were not done during the Prophet. No, people were doing this. It wasn't haram back then completely until the Quran later on came to abolish everything. I'm going to come to a question E1. Yeah, please keep your question. We want to make sure that we cover with this. So we've talked about covering the organs. The first one we say tahara. The second one we say covering the aura. Sitru al-aura. The third condition, guys, is facing the qibla. This is the third condition. So as you take your notes, take the major point, and then down here you can just open the bracket and just try to write from this one. So facing the qibla, it is a prerequisite. It's a condition before salah, although it's not within the salah. Okay, you don't do ruku on it, but before you start salah, before you start performance, you have to know the direction of qibla. Alhamdulillah, nowadays we have a technology. We can, use Google Map. We can use a lot of things really, which are very helpful. Some of these prayer mats, they have like a compass. What is that, Hamida? Is it called a compass or something? Magnetic thingy? What's it called?
It's a compass.
Compass, yeah. It gives you direction. Yeah, it gives you direction. I don't know, Yusuf, do you trust these things? Is it 100% reliable, or how does it work?
Some of them could be a bit fake because it depends where you are, but some of them are kind of trustworthy.
Okay, they're trustworthy. Okay, well done. Thank you, Yusuf. Because once, I remember on one occasion, we were praying and then we wanted to follow that. And then the guy said, no, you can't trust this thing. So I don't really know. Because this is the condition of salah, you see. If you're not sure about the device that you're using, yeah, what you can do, you can ask the nearby Muslim. Of course, whenever you go, You might find a Muslim, whether from the shop or from the street, anywhere. Try to ask if you're not sure. Yeah, because knowing the direction of Qibla is part of what? The condition. So here it says, Salah will not be valid without facing the Kaaba. Al-Qibla meaning the Kaaba, if he is capable of it. Now, there is an issue of capability here. Okay, you just need to make an effort to try to know where the Qibla is. But imagine you are somewhere, you know, I don't know, you went for a camp, you know, by the look of it, you are in the forest and you're intending to camp for 3-4 days, or I don't know, 1 week. Take your mat, your prayer. But where you are, maybe you are camping, you're the only Muslims. You can't ask anybody. Maybe maybe school camping or whatever, or work trip or anything. You know, no Muslims around. So just make your effort, follow the compass. The nearest it could be, according to your capability, that's where you're going to face, inshallah, for Salah. Yeah. But if you just want to guess, while you know this place, there are Muslims here, you know, I could just go to the petrol station and find a Muslim there or a shop, that's not going to be allowed to do that. So he says the exact position of Kaaba is the direction to face for a person who is in the holy city of the Mecca and is able to view the Kaaba from his place. I mean, well, if you want to do that, but of course we don't live in Mecca. For the people who live in Mecca, they have this kind of privilege. The general direction of Kaaba is the direction to face for a person who is unable to view the Kaaba. Of course, we are unable to do the Kaaba, but for somebody who lives actually next to the Kaaba, he has to face to face. Okay. So he says the general direction of the Kaaba is also the direction to face for a person away from the holy city of Mecca. If a person is unable to face the stipulated direction owing to a disease or fear from an enemy, so it is permissible for him or her to face whichever direction he is capable of. Now, I think here you understand, okay? Let's say you go somewhere, there's fear, or due to temperature, is heavy rain or anything. It could be, you know, good excuse. It's not like you don't want to bother. You don't bother. No, good excuse. If I go there, I think by the look of this forest where I am, I might get, you know, I might put myself into trouble. There might be like a, you know, a creature, maybe a python or anything. I'm going to risk my life, basically. So Islam, la yukallifu Allahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah says Allah doesn't, you know, make life difficult except for the things that a Muslim, you know, is capable of doing. Yeah. So Islam is yusr. We call deen yusr. This is an easy religion. Yeah, easy religion. It's not a very difficult religion. Yes, there is a condition. You have to face the Qibla, but if you're in a position whereby you can't find the Qibla due to your, maybe it's very cold out there. Let's say you just go like Canada now, snowing heavily, and you are somewhere there's no, of course, if you expose yourself outside that much, you're going to affect your health. So you are allowed to face any direction possible, inshallah. So we've talked about 3 conditions, guys. The first was tahara, purity from the body, purity of the garment, and the purity of the place. Yeah. The second one we talked about the direction. No, the second one we talked about, what is it? Covering the aura, covering the organs. We say for the males and the free slave and a free woman or a slave woman. Yeah, everything. So you have to make sure that we cover. And the limits are here that have been shown. Then facing the Qibla. Yes, the Qibla is a condition. Yeah. For those who are actually either you're facing the Qibla or the Kaaba or you are far away from it. Yeah. And then the number 4 is the time of Salah, dukhulul waqt, or waqtus Salah. Salah will not be valid before its starting time or start time. This is very, very important. Yeah. You cannot pray before the Salah. Yeah. And the times of the Salah have been described previously. I think in the previous lesson, he was talking about time of Salah. We're going to talk about later, inshallah. I wanted us to know that the conditions first, and then we're going to go and talk the time of the Salah. Yeah. So the time of the Salah is very important. You can't pray without time. And we talked, I think, earlier on, if somebody maybe misses Dhuhr and now it's at the time for Asr, what are you going to do? Yeah. Can you just ignore that Salah? Can you just leave it?
No, you have to pray Asr first and then pray Dhuhr.
Oh, do you have to do that? You have to pray Asr fast and then pray Dhuhr?
Yeah, because if you've missed one salah, you rather do the one that is current before you miss that one as well.
Oh, guys, is that the fatwa? Is it the answer? Lira, you miss Dhuhr and this is now Asr Salah. What are you going to do? You're going to do Asr?
Then you have to pray in order.
Pardon?
Then you have to pray in order.
Explain. What do you mean? Explain.
Although, like, also called Asr time is still coming, yeah. You should still play Dhuhr since you missed it. You have to
No,
pray.
it's time for the Asr of Asr now. It's time for Asr now.
So
Yeah.
you missed Dhuhr. You should still you should do Dhuhr first, then Asr, because there's still some time for you to do it to complete Asr. It's not like it's gonna be. It's not like the time for Asr is gonna go in like what 10-20 minutes.
Well done. Aksa, did you hear that answer? Yeah. We've
Yeah.
answered the question before. Now, let's say now is Isha time. Now it's Isha time, yeah? And you haven't prayed Maghrib. Remember, this Isha time has just started now. Doesn't mean that it's going to go. Yeah? You have to start with the Maghrib first, the Salah, because you missed that one, because Salah you have to do in order, guys, yeah?
But if it's the end of the if it's nearly the end of the current salah, don't you have to do that one first?
Yes, that's it. Now, the scholars, they say, if you are like Maghrib, you didn't pray Asr, and this Maghrib is about to go, maybe 2-3 minutes, it will be Isha. Now, of that time, you have to read Maghrib there. You understand? You have to pray Maghrib, because now you don't want that to go out of the time as well. Yeah? But if you have enough time, you have to pay back the Dhuhr, and then you did the Maghrib. Now, what if somebody hasn't prayed the whole day? What is that going to be?
You have to do it in order, right?
1 second, you need to raise your hand. Aisha, what are you going to do? Somebody hasn't prayed the whole day. From Fajr, from Dhuhr, from Asr, and members actually went to work for a long shift. Now it's Isha. What is he going to do?
They can pray Isha.
Pray Isha and then start with the thing, the Fajr.
No.
So this is very, very tricky situation, because you understand this Salah Allah says, Inna salata kanat al kitaban mawquta. You have to be very careful there. Salahs have to be prayed on their times. If it happens that somebody is late or delayed or something like that, then we can do this kind of, but this shouldn't be a habit. Look at the time of Fajr. Yeah, is really, really completely different to the time of Isha. Isha is when the sun has totally gone down. This one, when the sun is just, trying to, to come out, So we need to be careful with this kind of salah. It's not something that we can mix all together. Yeah, everything has been put there for a reason. For someone to wake up for Fajr, even if you wake up a bit late, 7 o'clock. Now Jama'ah is like 7 o'clock, some masjid, or 1:45. Yeah. So just when you wake up, even if it's late, you pray there and then. Don't wait till, the next salah is going to be, difficult. So the time for salah, we said, you can't pray unless salah has entered. You don't have to pray there and there immediately, but you have to pray within that salah. And that's why you go to some masjid, they pray a bit early. This other masjid a bit late. And you see, oh, what is it? Why Dhuhr here they pray 12:30? This one they pray 1, the other one they pray 1:15. What is going on? Yes, because they're just following their own system they put there in place. Yeah, but as long as salah has entered, you can pray anytime. So there's no specific time within that. If they decide together to pray at 1:30, still Dhuhr is there, they can pray at 1:30. There's no problem. Another precondition is intention. Salah is not valid without an intention. Yeah, you need to make sure that you put an intention. If the salah is obligatory, specifically, yeah, it is compulsory, like intending for Dhuhr or Asr. Yeah, similarly, if the salah is compulsory, specifically, it's compulsory, like intending for Witr or Eid Salah. So now there's a difference. There are different types of salah. Anyway, there's Salatul Mafrood, Fard and Wajib. Fard means the compulsory one. Fard means the obligatory one. And there's the Wajib, like Witr. Witr is called Sunnah, but Sunnatun Mu'akkada. Or some Madhab al-Hanafi, they call it Wajib. You understand? But in Shafi, it's Sunnatun Mu'akkada, means highly emphasized Sunnah. Yeah? Okay, so intention of the salah, it's very, very important. He says prohibitive words of the salah. I think that isn't talking about there. So the conditions are more likely finished here. I think some of the conditions are not mentioned here, but no problem. We will mention in the next episode, inshallah. So let's just give a summary of what we've talked about today.